In this tutorial, we're going to add a super clean scroll to top floating button to your Shopify store. It only appears once the user scrolls down your page, and when clicked, it smoothly scrolls back to the top. This is awesome for long product pages or blogs and gives your theme a professional, modern feel. First, we create a new snippet called scroll to top. This snippet contains three things: a small SVG arrow icon, the CSS that positions and styles the button, and a tiny JavaScript snippet that watches for scrolling and triggers the smooth scroll behavior. Once the snippet's ready, we simply include it inside a theme.liquid file so it appears across our entire storefront. And just like that, your store now has a clean, animated scroll to top button with no external libraries needed. My name is Nick and I make videos like this all the time, so make sure you subscribe and let me know in the comments what you'd like to see built next. I appreciate you watching. Now let's get started. All right, now the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go into our duplicated theme here. Always make sure you're using a duplicated theme so we don't break anything in production. I'm going to come to this three-dot menu and I'm going to edit the code. Okay, this is going to be a really easy video, so you should have no trouble adding it. We only have to edit two files, one of which we're going to create. So let's do that first. I'm going to come to this snippets directory. I'm going to right-click and I'm going to create a new file. And I am going to call this scroll-to-top.liquid. Okay, again, make sure this is in the snippets directory. And then you can go ahead and click on the link in the description to go to my code, my GitHub, to copy this code. I'm going to paste this code in there, and you'll see it's only 72 lines of code. I'm going to walk through it really quick with you. Look, this is the liquid HTML portion right here. There's really not much going on other than we just have like our ID and class here. And then this right here is the SVG, so this is really cool. This is what's going to actually make the arrow so it looks good. You can actually use any SVG you'd like, and you can plug it in right here. It'll work the exact same. But I'm going to be just fine with this arrow for now. And then right below that, you'll see we have our style. Now, there's not that much to talk about in terms of the style. The main thing I'm just going to point out is right here, this scroll to top. This is, if you see the class right there, this is what's going to actually style that button for us. So if you want to update the button to make it look more appropriate for your theme, your color, design, whatever, these are the things you're going to change right here. So you can change the background color, and you'll see that I've added a few comments here. This is the color, like the fill color of the actual icon. If you want to make it a little bit bigger, then you'd mess with this padding right here. Let's see what else. And then this border right here. This is also important for the border color. And then importantly right here, this show and hidden. All you have to worry about this is what's going to toggle whether it shows or not. We're going to handle that with our JavaScript, so you don't really have to worry about it, but just know that this is what it's referencing. So let's go to that JavaScript right below, and let's take a look. So first we have this listener, right? We're just going to make sure the DOM has loaded before we fire this off. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have a selector for our button that we just created. And then we're going to have this toggle visibility function, okay? Now, all this is doing is this is determining if the scroll, meaning if we scroll like this down, I have it set to 300 right now. So if it scrolls beyond 300 pixels, it's going to have our button show. If it's less than 300 pixels from the top, it's not going to show, okay? So if you want the button to appear sooner or later, then all you have to do is just edit this right here. And you'll see that it adds the show, it removes the hidden, and vice versa, okay? So that's the logic for hiding and showing the button. And then right below that, we have our event listener. So this is just going to call when the user actually scrolls. So pretty self-explanatory there. And then, of course, we have the event listener for when the button's actually clicked on. And this is what's really cool. There's this browser API called scroll2. It handles this automatically. You don't need any JavaScript libraries or anything like that. All you have to do is pass in what you want to scroll to and the behavior that you would like it to behave. Okay, so this is really cool. It doesn't get any simpler than this. So if we're happy with this code, what we can do is we can save it. And now we just have to make sure that we display it correctly. Okay, so the way we're doing this is how we're going to make sure that it shows on all the different pages across our theme. And how that's going to happen is if we come up here to our layout and then our theme.liquid. Now, if you remember, the theme.liquid is the overall container for everything on our app until we hit to the checkout. So basically this will load every single time on every single page. And all we have to do is scroll down to the very bottom, and we're going to look for this tag right here, this closing body tag. And then right above it, we're going to render our snippet. And to render a snippet, very easy. All we have to do is add this little syntax right here and then just say render and then quote scroll to top. And that's it. So now if I save this, and then if I come here and preview this, we should see our button. And now you'll see if I start scrolling down, we have our button pop up right here. And if I go back up, it doesn't. So remember that 300 pixel is the range for this. So if I keep scrolling, I'm going to test this out now. If I click, you'll see that it scrolls up to the top, nice and easy, just like that. And we're on the product page now. So let's go ahead and test this on the homepage, and again, I will scroll, you'll see it show, and I'm gonna go all the way to the bottom and click this, and just like that, it scrolls up to the top. Now, if we also check this out on mobile, you'll see the exact same behavior, perfect, which is probably even more applicable right on mobile because the screen's so skinny, things are forced down into new lines. So it's easier to get lost at the bottom of a page, but very simple to click and move up. So I hope that this has been helpful and you've enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you have any questions and make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.